Bring your friends and your folks along down to the river and sing this song.
RiverFest, it's the best.
Well, today is the start of RiverFest, July 21st, 2020, and a strange RiverFest it is this year. Virtual, in most cases, but as we'll describe in a few minutes, we have a few things that will be live. We're all learning new ways of communicating virtually, and we are glad that you're along with us for this ride, that you're watching, that you're participating, and we look forward to revisiting our theme, which, well, I'm wearing my Party with a Purpose cap today, furnished by the Surrenda Company. The purpose, of course, is to remind us all that the St. Croix River is an important part of our culture in the Hudson area, important part of our lifestyle, and that it takes our continual effort and vigilance to keep that St. Croix River enjoyable. And one of the things is picking up litter from the banks, and so that's the riverbank, you know. And so that's a core part of our Party with a Purpose. But actually, RiverFest began before today, and I'm going to turn to one of the other people on this broadcast here, to Liz Melaniphy, and ask her to begin to describe what happened starting last week with the Just Add Water class. Liz?
Hey, so it's my favorite time of year, Party with Purpose. And my Just Add Water classes every year for RiverFest do the trash cleanup. So we've got lots of trash. Seems like a little bit less every year, which is great. We've been doing this for probably about 8 years or so. And we take that garbage and we dress Scrappy the splashing bass with it. So you may have seen Scrappy in parades, well, last year, not this year. But we'll be doing that again this year. And I'm going to work with a very small class, but we're going to do myself and one of the kids at a time, and we'll be putting the trash on Scrappy like we always do. Tomorrow, today, Tuesday, Wednesday, be done by Thursday, and we'll do some time-lapse videos of it, and you'll get to see what was picked up during these couple of days for the river cleanup.
So where are you going to do it this year, Liz? In past years, you've done it down at Picnic Point, and the litter picker-uppers who did this on Tuesday would take their trash bags full of stuff that they'd picked up in the parks, and they'd take it down to Picnic Point and put it under the roof down there. But this year we aren't doing that. What are you doing?
We're going to be right on the lawn by the Phipps Center for the Arts. So we're going to do it right down there. And it won't be quite as many people, quite as many kids around, so it'll be easy to do it in that space, and it'll be really visible so people can stop by, and we'll have a nice amount of distance around so that people can check out what we're doing but still stay safe. So.
And that'll not be on the front yard of the Phipps, but on the backyard, sort of, right on the north side between the library and the Phipps building? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You'll be able to see where we are from Lakefront Park. And you'll just be, there's a nice grassy corner down there. So it'll be perfect for the dressing.
Good. Let me call in the other person on our conference today, Jackie Bradham, and ask Jackie, why don't you tell us a little bit about your understanding of the litter pickup and how that's being managed this year.
Hi there. With the litter cleanup this year, we're trying, that's the one live event we're going to be doing, and we're going to try and do that with social distancing. So if you are a family group, you can sign up. We're having people sign up through Buck, and if you go to our website, you can find the information about the cleanup and how to register for that. And there's also some safety guidelines about how to pick up trash safely. So we're going to have a trailer set out at the area where Scrappy's being worked on in the corner of that's Vine and First Street. And you would pick up a bag there and go out to your assigned area. Buck will assign an area to anyone that wants to come clean up trash. And we're just asking people to please pre-register. And so we know who's going to be out there cleaning up, and we can send people to different areas. And people go out to the different parks all the way along the St. Croix River, starting up in North Hudson and different areas all the way down through Lakefront Park area.
Thanks, Jackie.
Mhm.
Yeah, naturally, we can only work in places that are public or where we have permission to be on the shore, but there are lots of such places. The Hudson and North Hudson area have lots of parks on the water and places that accumulate litter. We started back in 2001 doing organized litter pickup, but we used to just throw it all away. And then RiverFest hired an artist, and she built this framework. What's the name for it, Liz? Do you remember?
Armature?
The armature, yeah, that's right. And that's what Liz attaches the trash to. Why don't you just explain just a little bit more about that, Liz? Because it's not just a matter of throwing trash at the armature and seeing if it sticks, is it? It's much more complicated than that.
We go through the trash, which is kind of gross, but we find lots of really interesting things in there. And we use a lot of cans. There's a ton of cans. And when we use the cans, we squish them flat, and then we put holes in the corners of them, and we kind of almost quilt them together, and they form like a shiny, scaly kind of skin. So we use a ton of cans on Scrappy. Unfortunately, we find a ton of cans in the river and around. A lot of bottles, plastic bottles. And then we also have often a lot of beach toys. We have like Happy Meal toys we've put on there. We've had, tire like hubcaps. We've had underwear. There's underwear on Scrappy sometimes. I think once somebody found a wedding dress that was in the Kinnickinnick River cleanup. So it's always very interesting to do the I Spy with Scrappy because there's some really crazy stuff we put on there. And my classes love to see like what is the weirdest thing that's going to be on Scrappy. So, and the kids have to, they have to take drills and drill holes and everything unless it's already kind of got a hole in it. And we use zip ties to put those on the armature. So they have to be secure because you, Buck, pulled up Scrappy the splashing bass around and he goes from place to place. And so we can't have that garbage flying off all over the road when we drive around. So it's kind of an involved process, but we've gotten pretty good at it.
Yes, we've had lots of practice, haven't we? We've taken it over to Bellwyn over the years. We took it up to Franconia to the sculpture park once. And when we have parades in Hudson, the Booster Parade and the PurperFest Parade, we pull Scrappy in those. And oh, that's right. Can't forget the Hot Air Fair Parade in February.
Great.
Scrappy gets a little cool then. We used to store Scrappy outside at the YMCA camp, but now the Kinnickinnick River Land Trust has a space in a big warehouse in River Falls that they let us put Scrappy in, so that hopefully the trailer and the structure, the armature and so on won't rust out too fast, and it'll continue to be serviceable for many years to come. Jackie, you have some film, don't you, that you're going to make available to the station here of Scrappy from the past, pictures?
Yeah, we've got, he gets a new outfit every year, so we've got kind of an evolution showing the different photographs of some of the different outfits and looks he's had. The Seek and Finds are always fun. I think I've got last year's Seek and Find up there, but we'll be putting a new one up so people can look for specific things. I'm always amazed at how many shoes are on him. People lose their flip-flops and sandals and whatever. And Mark, isn't there a story about a little kid recovering one of his shoes?
Yep, another crazy thing that happened on the Kinnickinnick River down near River Falls a few years ago. Actually, it was the same year that the wedding dress showed up on its hanger. hung up on a bush alongside the Kinnickinnick River. But they found the tennis shoe that looked to be practically new. It looked new. And when we took Scrappy into the lawn of the River Falls Library and had Scrappy on display there, that shoe was one of the things that Liz had chosen for the display. And a boy and his mother came, and the boy recognized his shoe as the mate to one that he had at home. Of course, we were happy to give him back his shoe, and it hadn't been damaged. Somehow, Liz had put it on in a fashion that didn't actually punch a hole in it. So, yeah, the boy was reunited with his shoe. That was really a delightful feature there. Yeah, so it's grand fun. So we'll have this trailer then between the Phipps and the library. Well, it's there now, of course, and it'll stay there for the next few days. And in the trailer will be the litter that people picked up today. And you will transfer some of that onto Scrappy. And Scrappy will be located in that same area, so you can work on it there. Yeah, I guess that covers the way that'll work. Well, do we have something else going on today? We've got a whole, mostly week of activities here, don't we, Jackie? And you've organized it all in a fashion that shows up on the website, so people can see what's coming up. But let's summarize it here for the viewers at this point. Also today, then, what do we have?
Yeah, on Tuesday we've got the river cleanup, which is the live event, and then we would also have. We'd start with the virtual events. We'll start then. So we'll start with the videos, and you can go to our website, and they'll all have links for viewing. We'll also post them on our Facebook page. And one of the things is that Buck will be talking with Chris Post from the St. Croix County Recycling, and we'll have a video up there about recycling. And so when you're out there cleaning up at RiverFest, you'll know how to sort and recycle the stuff in the trash that's picked up, as well as the trash that comes off from Scrappy. That all gets recycled each year when we take it off. So just some RiverFest recycling basics. And then one of the other things that is happening is Carpenter Nature Center, Jesse, will be presenting some animal ambassadors, and throughout the week, each day we'll have a different animal ambassador to talk about. So I think Tiger Salamander's scheduled for Tuesday, so he should be interesting to learn about the different animals that live in the valley, the river valley, and how to protect them, and they're just amazing to watch. So we should get some really good close-up videos of those animals and get to meet them firsthand, I guess. Well, through video,
Yeah,
the wonders of
Virtually.
video, get to meet them.
Mhm.
So that'll be fun. And then that evening we've got, well, it's not evening, and traditionally in the evening it's Tricia and the Toonies with their environmental puppet show. So we'll have them coming back for a performance. That should be interesting. Tricia has written us a theme song, so we have the RiverFest theme song. That's an enjoyable song. They do a really good job with that.
Yeah, let me break in here.
I enjoy it.
Let me just break in on you,
Mhm.
Liz, to cover a couple of related topics. Yeah, Tricia and her puppets and friends do the RiverFest You're the Best song. I need to thank at this time the City of Hudson for sponsoring Tricia and the Toonies again. It's a part of the city's ongoing effort to try to avoid water pollution, surface water runoff from streets and parking lots and roofs and that kind of thing. And so Tricia reminds us of ways that we can keep trash from the river and pollution and dog waste and grass clippings and other things that otherwise wash down the storm drains in the city and in the village of North Hudson and wash into the Willow River or the St. Croix River. But Tricia does it in a fun way with a bouncy voice and Pete on the keyboard So I hope that everybody who's watching this video will be able to watch Trisha and the Toonies also today.
Yeah. She's always entertaining and fun, and the kids just love her. And the puppets they have a great sense of humor, and it's a very enjoyable program.
Tomorrow, Liz, you'll be hard at work with all 4 kids or some of your kids, and you'll be taking time-lapse photography of putting things onto Scrappy. Is that right?
That's right. And I just want to say that if people do continue to find trash around, I think just about every day there's plastic bottles down by the river when I walk down there. And whatever else you find, if it's not on one of the cleanup days, you can still bring it to us and put it with our trash. And we'll just keep putting trash on by Wednesday and Thursday. Scrappy should be filling up. And one of these years, we won't have enough garbage to fill them up, and that'll be even better. So
that would be marvelous. Yeah, Amy Hess reminded us that it's a year-round thing, and I know that some of my friends, whenever they go on a walk, they take a little bag with them and they pick things up, and it just becomes second nature to do that. It's a year-round thing. Amy and the good folks at Saranda are talking about adopt a river, adopt a stretch of river and make it something to be responsible for, sort of like adopt a highway programs. That's something to think about and possibly implement. Yeah.
Well, as I tell my kids that during that week, Buck, what I see down by the river a lot is plastic. And when that plastic gets in the water, it doesn't really go away for a very long time. It breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces. And then, of course, what's in the water, the creatures that are in the water, end up eating it. So that's, I think that's really striking to kids, and they really remember that. I know a couple kids who've been in the class over the years who take a bag whenever they go on a walk and make everybody in their family pick up garbage. So that's what we want.
Yeah, our friends.
That's a good thing.
Our friends at the Trumpeter Swan Society, who monitor the swans when they congregate down there on the riverbank during the winter, on the open water, are always concerned. And each year there's at least one example of a swan that gets caught in some fish line or something, that is damaging to their health and sometimes kills them. Well, Wednesday, the other animals, right? Jesse Eckroad from the Carpenter Nature Center is going to feature blandings and wood turtles, 2 species of turtles. Is that right, Jackie?
I believe so on that day. So again, another opportunity to meet some animal ambassadors, and Jesse usually covers how to improve the environment for them, and how to what you should do if you see a turtle on the road, and all kinds of information about turtles. And we'll have a couple of them to get a close-up look at also. And then we have some more activities on Wednesday. There is a garden foraging walk. Russ Lake it has helped the Hudson Grocery Co-op put together a video for us, and he just goes around, he's just taking us on a walk through his garden, and it's amazing some of the edible plants that he has right there just around the house. And there's all kinds of edible plants that are around that you can find in your own backyards or when you're out on a walk. And he helps us recognize what some of them are, and kind of what they taste like, and what you can use it for. So I thought it was really interesting, but it's a subject that interests me. We had Sam Thayer come and had a presentation. Was that in January, I think it was, when that happened. It was a while back. It was very, very popular. People seem to enjoy it. So we thought the foraging, doing some more foraging would be great. There's a lot of plants out there that are healthy and nutritious, and some of them are delicious, more delicious than others. I can't say I've ever been a fan of dandelions, but I'll give them a try.
Right.
Are you into this too, Liz? Do you eat wild?
Well,
Things?
I'm writing it down right now because I really want to make sure I go and watch that because I
Oh,
know some people that do it also, and I know that there's a lot that's out there and available for us to eat just in nature. So I want to learn more about it.
yeah. But by this time of year, it's not. We're a little past the peak of some plants. Some of the succulent green plants, have already gotten a little hardened up by July 21st.
Mhm.
But there are others yet to come, and of course the fruit-bearing plants are mostly still ahead of us. Did you get any ramps this year, Jackie? I know last year you made
I found a mapler that up in Frederick, Wisconsin, that was selling live plants. So I bought some and planted them in my backyard, and they had a hard time with being transferred, but they did send up the flower shoots because the leaves will die off and then the flower stems come up kind of like an onion, and I got lots of onion heads and seeds, so hopefully it takes a long time to get them established. It was a really fun trip because you walked in, he was a maple syruper, so when you walk into the woods, the whole floor of the woods was covered with ramps. I've never seen so many ramps in my life.
Wow.
And you just walked in and you could smell them immediately because they have a very strong garlic smell. So I got to enjoy some fresh ones this year and planted some. So hopefully under my maple trees in my back of my yard. And so hopefully I can have my own crop of ramps. So fun, but they're a wonderful garlic onion type of flavor. They're heavenly. And a ramp omelet's the best.
Wow, good.
Yep.
Well, think of that, Liz.
Yep.
And not to steal our thunder, we'll get to it a little later in the week here as we progress through the menu for this week, but we'll be having some Native American recipes and presumably things having to do with ramps will be in there. Back to Sam Thayer and Russ Lake. Russ, of course, lives in Hudson and is an active member of the Hudson Grocery Co-op, as we are. And so I've got a couple of Sam's books here on the shelf. He spoke to the grocery co-op, as Jackie mentioned. He also spoke to the Hudson Garden Club, Home and Garden Club, at that same time. He got a double hit from his trip from Bruce, Wisconsin, where he lives. And just a couple of weeks ago, he and his wife sent out a newsletter item about uses of milkweed. So I just mentioned that. If any of our watchers are interested in learning more about different ways to eat milkweed, let me know. Milkweed will still have some young shoots and there'll still be flowers, and of course there'll be the seed pods. All of those are edible and fun, Liz. So if you find a patch that's got more milkweed than the monarch butterflies need, and they don't need a lot, so that leaves some behind, for us humans. And you're interested, just follow up with us. So that's a tangent from the foraging garden walk that Russ recorded a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And then is it the same day is the first of the meditations with Kishori, right, Jackie?
Yes, Saranda Kishori will be doing a guided meditation session, and she's right on the banks of the St. Croix. It's very beautiful, restful, peaceful. So her meditation video will be airing that day on Wednesday. And then that is brought to us by Saranda Koshi. Is from the lead guide in meditation for Saranda. And then we also have on that day the library story time with the book, The Prairie That Nature Built. Maybe Buck, you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure, I'd be glad to. We have an author in North Hudson. Well, all of us know Mary Beth Becky Mattia, who's raised her kids here in North Hudson. She's a prolific author, must have at least a dozen books by now. And one of her children's books is called The Prairie That Nature Built. And one of the librarians, probably Joseph Cry, the Adult and Youth Services Assistant at the Hudson Area Public Library, is going to read that, or has read it already. You'll be playing it, Jackie, putting it up on our website. It's an interesting book that concentrates on the plants and animals that thrived in the tallgrass prairie that we had in this part of Wisconsin, in the western part of St. Croix County. We think of it as likely having been an area loaded with trees, but actually when the first white settlers arrived, and for probably 1,000 years before that, it had been primarily what's called an oak savanna, meaning about one oak tree per acre or so, and the rest of it prairie species. A lot of grasses, the 5 or 6 most common of the tall grasses, some short grasses, and then a lot of forbs, or flowers as they call them, some of which are the kind of things that Russ Lake and Sam Thayer teach us how to eat, and how to cook and prepare to eat. But Mary Beth, in her book, describes the interaction between the plants and animals of the prairie in the book The Prairie That Nature Built. And so Joseph, or one of the other librarians, is going to read it, and it'll be a reading suitable for kids to watch and enjoy and learn. We have one other later on. We'll come to it in a few minutes here, I guess. Another book from the library, story time. But then Thursday, it's back to Kishore Kolk, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we've got Kishore coming back for a yoga session, again, right out on the banks of the St. Croix River. It's beautiful scenery, and she will take you through breathing, relaxing, and different yoga poses. I don't know, she looked like a pretzel to me. I'm sure it takes years of hard work and patience and practice to get as good as Kishore is, but it's lovely to watch, and that video will be up on Thursday, so people who are interested in yoga can get out and go through the session with her. It'd be very enjoyable.
Good. And Liz, do you know yet, well, it all depends on weather, I guess, what day you'll be going out with the kids and your kayaks?
We're scheduled to go out Monday and Tuesday, early in the week, just in case the weather is poor and then we have rain dates. And that is Paige from Kinney Creek Outfitters in River Falls always comes over. She's kind enough to drag boats over and life jackets and paddles, and then we take the kids and go out to the island across the bay that some people call Beer Can Island, maybe, but we call it Mussel Island because there are lots of mussels out there, and the kids can usually see them and feel them under their feet in the water, and there's always garbage to pick up out there too. So we usually take a bag and bring back some garbage from the kayak trips. And this will be great this year because that's something we can do and still, keep our distance, our social distance, and be safe about it. So it's nice that this class can be an actual, in-person class. Mm-hmm. It's a really meaningful trip, I think, for the kids to just go out to that island. So that'll be Monday and Tuesday. So
okay. So hopefully it was yesterday or today, but if yesterday or today was bad weather, it'll be tomorrow or later, presumably. Right. And the sailing school, they're scheduled to have a video on Wednesday, right, Jackie?
Yes, we've got producing the sailing school will be producing a video. I don't have a lot of details on that and haven't seen that one yet. So we're waiting patiently for that one. It should be entertaining because hopefully if they take a camera out on the river, that would be nice. At the very minimum, you get to see those sailboats in action. That would be great.
I suppose they'll make it a competition. It'll be one of their sailing races, and we'll hear people jockeying around at the starting line and trying to cut each other off at the buoy and all that kind of stuff.
Gonna have
Well,
to wait to watch that one. It'll be entertaining.
yeah, I haven't sailed for a long time, so I'm looking forward to seeing their video. And then Jesse's gonna do another animal, right? This
Yep.
time a hognose snake.
We've got an animal appearing each day of through RiverFest, and we've got the Hognose Snakes scheduled for that day. So again, get out. I don't know if everybody's a fan of snakes, but they do a good job, and usually learn a lot whenever Jesse shares stories about the different animals, and always something new to learn about them. And I personally think snakes are really cool. Other people think they're creepy.
I think they're cool, but I do have a little trouble handling them. I'm not very comfortable. How about you, Liz? Do you like are you comfortable handling snakes?
I love snakes.
Oh, you do?
They're so smooth and soft. They're really cool.
Yeah,
and Jessica,
they're not cold and slimy.
My kids love the kids at RiverFest. Usually get to see her. She's usually there in person with the animals, and she does such an amazing job. She's really good with her knowledge and with communicating that with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jessie is great. The hognose snake has a little bump on the end. It's sort of like the thing that some bird species have that enables them to crack the egg from inside, except the purpose of that bump on the hognose snake is to aid them in burrowing. And they make their own burrows using that bump there. And then, wow, this year the Historical Society made a video. Hey, Jackie, did you have something to do with that?
Yeah, we have one of our volunteers, Dick Nelson, works with me at the Historical Society, and one of the projects that we do there is we're scanning our photo collection. There's over 5,000 historic photos that the Historical Society has. And we are he also loves to do drone videos. So he's taken drone videos around town, like one at the Octagon House. So we're trying to pair up some historic photos with some modern drone videos, and it's kind of interesting. One of them he took up from Liberty Hill, and historically Liberty Hill was a place where a lot of people would go to take photographs of Hudson. So you get a bird's eye view of Hudson. And we've got an old picture and the new drone video, and it's basically a scene looking down at the Baptist church. So it's very entertaining. If you like to see the then and now, the old and new, it's going to be great fun.
What year?
Watch that one.
Do you know what year the so-called old picture was taken?
I'm trying to remember which houses are in it. I think probably around the 1890s. The old courthouse was still there, so we know it's before the 1900s. So it's interesting to see how many church spires you can see in the scene. On 3rd Street and 4th Street, there were a lot of churches along the either side of the road. So I think it was a Baptist, and then I believe there was a Methodist and Presbyterian, and keep going all the way up to the Catholic Church, and then come back down. And there's one church still next to the school, but there used to be a couple more on 4th Street also. So it's a lot of church spires.
Yeah. And somebody's going to narrate that, I presume?
I think that one's going to have a little narration, probably more music in the background than anything. Should be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You're going to make that available on Thursday.
Yep, that'll be available on Thursday also.
Mhm, mhm. Good. Well, then Friday we get to see Liz's handiwork, huh? Are you? I guess I'm not clear, Jackie. Are you putting up Scrappy starting on Tuesday, starting today, or you're waiting until Scrappy's decorated?
We're waiting till he's all done to put up the final time lapse video. People can watch Liz as she's working, but it takes a little bit of time to get the video up by Friday.
Oh.
So we need a little bit of time to get it uploaded, but once it's done, we'll try and get it up as soon as possible. So we just scheduled it to go up on Friday so people can, that'll give us enough time to get it done.
Before that, they can watch Scrappy from previous years, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. And then,
Yeah.
so the new Seek and Find will be, which is a list of things to look for in Scrappy's dressing, and check off the boxes or whatever. That'll appear on Friday.
Yeah, we'll put a new Seek and Find out for him. And I believe Scrappy will be on display more than just RiverFest. I think he might find a home around town so people can look for the Seek and Find. And then when they find Scrappy, they can look to see if they can find everything. Yeah,
Sure.
that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. Depending on what Liz finds to put on Scrappy this year.
Oh, there's always something interesting.
There
It's
is.
always fun to try and find them. They're hidden pretty good sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Friday is the day for the Peregrine Falcon, I see.
Yep, we've got Carpenter Nature Center coming back again with the Peregrine Falcon. They're very beautiful birds. They're just interesting to look at, to learn about, and I'm sure Jesse will once again have a great program on the Peregrine Falcons. I don't know if there's any along the bluffs anymore. I know one year, I think when we were down in the park, there were some falcons around, but there are different places where you can see them around. So
Well, I assume they nested again this year on the XL Energy Tower. About 2/3 of the way up the tower, there's a nest box that's been in use since the late 90s, I think, by Peregrine Falcons. They were introduced there, or facilitated, and then they've flourished subsequently. But as you say, Jackie, they're finding natural places to roost now as well.
That's good.
Yes, it is. And then the other library reading, right, goes live on Friday. This one is another local author or pair of authors or family of authors. The lead author is our own Jean Gagnon Clausen, and everybody who's active in Rotary knows her daughter Michelle Tigan, and they wrote a book a few years ago called Water, featuring Green Bean the Frog and the Green Wise Kids. And so Jean and Michelle are going to be the ones to read their book and record a video of it, and that will go live on Friday also. It would, of course, were this a normal year and we weren't doing everything virtually, they probably would have been down at the library reading it to a room full of kids, but instead it's being read to the whole world through virtual presentation. And then the Hot Air Affair has a video about ballooning over the St. Croix, right?
Yeah,
we don't have Abby or Michelle or one of the other leaders of the or Carla or Linda White. But
that's a nice video. It shows stillwater balloons inflating a balloon and the process that they go through, and then some video of the ballooning from views of the river from up high. And that one will be narrated by the Hot Air Fair president, Michelle Webb. So that should be, if you ever were curious about what it's like to go up in a balloon, it'd be pretty good representation of what the process is like. And of course, beautiful scenes of the beautiful St. Croix River. So
Indeed.
fun.
Have you been up in a balloon, Jackie?
Yes, I have. It's interesting because the way a balloon works is it moves with the wind. So there's no wind chill with Hot Air Fair being the first full weekend in February. It's always really cold, or almost always very cold. And so it's a winter balloon festival. And when you go up in the balloons, the wind chill is gone because your balloon is moving with the wind. And they seem slow and graceful. The fun part about wintertime is the view, the leaves are off the trees, so you get to see an amazing view in the wintertime. But likewise in the fall, with all the fall colors, it's a great time to go up in a hot air balloon. And it's in the summertime and the spring when all the green trees and the rivers are just sparkling. It's beautiful to be up in the hot air balloons year round. Even February.
Yeah. I look forward to doing it sometime. Have you done it, Liz?
No, I haven't. I look forward to doing it sometime as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll watch the video and it'll whet our appetite even more, I suppose.
Yes.
Right.
Well, and then Saturday is our Native American Festival Day. We've had some great Native American presentations and events over the years. Some of them are preserved in videos and they'll be shown this year. Why don't you tell us what let's see, we're going to have the 2014 program with Native American storyteller Mark Denny, the history of horses in North American Native culture. That was something I had no inkling of until 2014 when Mark came and told us about it and showed some examples. But there apparently were horses on this continent before the Spanish explorers brought horses to this continent. And the Native Americans cultivated them, domesticated them, used horses in their daily activities even before they got horses that had escaped from the Japanese or from the Spanish, or had been stolen from the Spanish, or whichever that might be. But that was a very interesting thing, and so that's covered in part in the video that we have of that 2014 program. And then 2014 the powwow style activity was down at Picnic Point. Were you there, Liz?
I think I was.
I think you were. I think I remember you doing the grass dance out there, didn't you?
I remember that.
Yeah. I remember trying it myself.
Yeah. I think my mom was there, my sister maybe, and
Yes.
that was awesome. That was really cool.
Mark Solier from the Chippewa band, Lake Superior Chippewa band in the Turtle Lake area, is just an excellent ambassador, and he has for, I guess, all of our years, he has been roping in some of his relatives, some of his children and his grandchildren to come and dance. And he himself, Mark, gets out there and dances even in the hot weather. And some of his relatives are drummers and bring their drum. The Trails group came in 2014, and so that video shows them at work and in action. The same day, Saturday, we're expecting that there will be some video about a fascinating part of Wisconsin history that had to do with the era when it was federal policy to take children from their Indian homes and take them to white schools, generally far away. And so many of the children from the Oneida tribe over in the Green Bay area of Wisconsin were taken all the way to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, to a school. And there were some tragic things happened. Of course, when you uproot children and take them to a resident school and cut them off from their families, from the adults in their families, things can happen, and things did happen. And there were children from the Oneida tribe who died while they were in school in Carlisle, and they were simply buried on the grounds at Carlisle at the time, separated from the families. In some ways, I guess it's reminiscent of the things that happened here during the COVID pandemic, when people have to be separated for health reasons, but in those days they were separated because of distance and the expense of travel and so on. But some children's remains were repatriated, as it were, from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, back to the Green Bay area just a year or two ago, and we have some video recording relating to that. The oldest Episcopal church in Wisconsin is located in Oneida, Wisconsin, and it seems odd that there would be Native Americans who were Episcopalians, but that's because there were missionaries from the Episcopalian Church that came to the outpost in Green Bay. They were competing with the Roman Catholics who had missionaries and the Methodists who had missionaries, and they started up churches. And so there is a continuous period from the early 1800s, late 1700s, to the present, of Oneida Indians being Episcopalians and having a thriving church on the native reservation grounds in the Oneida area. And the local Episcopalian church, St. Paul's here in Hudson, established links with the Oneida community's Episcopalian church and exchanged members back and forth. And we have some of that in this recording that you will be able to see on Saturday. And then perhaps you could tell us a little bit about the Fort Fall of Juan recording, Jackie, and what we hope that will show.
Well, we've got the Fort Folavian up at Danbury, and the Burnett County Historical Society operates that. And it talks about the history of the fur trade industry on the Yellow River, and the tour will cover the rebuild of the Ojibwe village and the forts that are up there. So they have interpreters that talk about life in a fort and what it was like during the fur trade era. So they we'll have a little walk through, and people can see what it would have been like back then. So it should be entertaining video.
Yeah, thank you.
And
have you ever been up there, Luke?
I haven't.
Oh, you'd
I'm
like
learning
it.
a lot today. I'm learning a lot of things today.
Yeah,
And I
well, Danbury's not that far away, There's a casino,
Yeah.
there's a hotel. They, of course, have great food at the casino, the way those things work. Linda and I went up a year ago when the Chippewa were dedicating a new bark log house. That was an all-weather kind of building that was used by the Ojibwe people at about the time of white settlement and for many years thereafter. And at Fort's Fall of Juan, there were, for a few decades, I think, 2 trading posts from 2 competing fur companies. One was American and the other was British. And that was about as far as the American company, John Jacob Astor, ASTOR, and Astoria, etc., that company. and the other was the Hudson's Bay Company, I'm pretty sure. And so that was unusual. And it was on the Yellow River near its confluence with the St. Croix. And another factoid, there's a fascinating book called Cecilia about a Native American woman who married a French fur trader, and he was stationed at Fort Fall One on the Yellow River. She was from the Duluth area, Cecilia was. That's where she grew up with the Fond du Lac band that still have reservation land up in that area. But she joined him, and they lived in the area of the Yellow River at around the time of the Civil War. I really commend the book Cecilia to you all. It was written by her great-grandson a few years ago, and records her exciting life. And of course, he was drafted to fight on the Union side in the Civil War. Imagine that. Came back uninjured, fortunate fellow, and they resumed their married life after that. But it was mighty tough at the time. I think she had 3 children, one an infant at the time he had to go off to the Civil War. And the book recounts her very difficult trip back to her family's home in the Duluth area. Well, then we're hoping that we will have a video interview with Judy Big Boy, who's a member of the Bad River Nation of Native Americans. Their headquarters is at Odana, which means small town in English. Odana is about 20 miles east of Ashland, and Jody Big Boy, I believe, is a judge in their tribal justice system, but she's also an authority on the jingle dresses. And I think, Jackie, you could say a little bit, couldn't you? Aren't you? You're pretty knowledgeable about the jingle dress.
The jingle dress has different stories of different origins of it, but a lot of them seem to be related to the flu epidemic, the Spanish flu epidemic, and that's when the jingle dress dance became very popular. And it's considered a sacred dance to, I'm trying to think of the right word, to help.
Help in healing, right?
Help in healing, yeah, I'm sorry. That wouldn't come to me. Seems to be a dress to be helped in healing in the Native culture, and a lot of it came out of I believe it's the Ojibwe tribe that that we're looking into their story of the jingle dress, and how they use it in ceremony to help heal, and it would be something that would be done for COVID, or something that would be done for the Spanish flu, something that dance to help heal people from these terrible diseases, and just and to honor the elders, and to just keep everybody safe. And so hopefully we will have be able to do a jingle dress demonstration. And if not, there is a link that we will put on to kind of the history of the jingle dress. The TPT, I believe, was put together a program on that, and we can put that up as a reference on the website, so you can learn more about jingle dresses.
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, a lot of times powwow style dancing is thought of as primarily a male thing. The warrior type dances, the grass dance for tromping the ground down before everybody starts at the beginning of the ceremony. The hoop dancing or other things are generally done by males, but jingle dresses are only worn by women, and the dances are only done by women, and that's all perfectly fine and appropriate for all of us.
There are different styles of jingle dress dancing. There's a more traditional one, and different ways to do it. And it's really interesting because they make the dress designs are beautiful. The intent is that they take a cone that's, at one time they would use a circle like a snuff can top, and they'd form it into a cone, and those cones are attached by ribbons onto the dress. And when the dresses, the different cones hit each other from the movement of the dance, it just makes beautiful tinkling sound. I think the older version of the name were they called tinkle cones. If you look, and those go back way long, many thousands of years before the jingle dress, but they used to have a smaller tinkle cone that was on a dress. And the intent is that they would, with movement, they make noise, and the noise is spiritual and a celebratory, and helps to heal.
Mm-hmm. But besides that, of course, Native Americans made use of native plants, and
Yes.
we hope to have some pretty good information, recipes, if you will, or other guidance on what Native Americans are using even today, even this week during RiverFest to keep their members healthy. I mean, we're familiar with the idea of burning sage or burning tobacco and the benefits of those smokes, but more than that, there are teas and herbs to eat and that sort of thing, which have been time tested to be useful for the health of Native peoples. Well, as we do RiverFest, we also would normally have on Saturday a fishing event, a kids fishing event, a kind of a learn to fish sort of thing in the southwest bay of Lake Malibu off the North Street there. But this year we're not doing that. And instead, we've got some links to how to fish kinds of information. So although those are maybe easy to find, we're making it even easier by making them available through our website. We may have some other Native American things, but as of today, we're not positive about that. Obviously, the place to go is our website. And I think that there are two big things I need to say before we sign off. And certainly one of those things is, Jackie, what is the website address again?
Yeah, so if you want to go to St. Croix RiverFest, and that's STCROIX, River, RIVER, Fest, FEST.org. So stcroixriverfest.org is where you would want to go. And we're also on our Facebook page. And while you're on the website, there's a schedule of events that tells you all of the videos and what days things will appear, but it also lists our partners and our sponsors. And this year we're honoring, because of going virtual, we're also honoring our past sponsors who have supported RiverFest, as well as our 2020 sponsors. And the event sponsor, of course, is Norlake this year. And but we also have a lot of partners, and the partners are the different organizations that are helping. Either in the past they've helped financially, but this year the sponsors help financially, and the partners are the ones that help with the programming. I mean, the Phipps Center for the Arts, the Carpenter Nature Center, we've got partners that have been with RiverFest since the beginning, the city of Hudson. So lots of different organizations and individuals work together to make RiverFest a success. So please check out who those partners and who our sponsors are that help support RiverFest on the website.
Thank you. Yes, and you mentioned Norlake. I wanted to particularly call out Norlake for their generous support again this year. We normally have a Thursday night concert, at the band shell. We're not having that this year. And normally Norlake puts up a big booth, and they have provided cold root beer, always a very popular thing. But we're not doing that. But we are celebrating Norlake's continued support of RiverFest, a valuable thing. And you, Liz, I suppose are anxious to get back there with your kids today, huh?
Yes, I'm very excited to just continue to help sort of cultivate these people who care as much about the river as all of you guys do. It's really inspiring always to talk to you.
Thanks. Can't think of a better note to sign off on. Thanks, viewers.
Now bring your friends and your folks along down to the river and sing this song.
River